Welcome to the very first edition of the Mountain Medium on YouTube. I'd like to thank Brianna for being here today to allow me the honor of channeling her loved ones. Brianna, you and I have never met before.
No.
Just so that you know, I don't Google anything from anyone when it comes to this work because I believe in having a clean slate. Do I hereby have your express permission, holding any indemnity, legal action, to air this on YouTube?
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Now I'm going to come join you. Okay. So I'll let you get the recording started so that we have everything from start to finish. We'll make sure that that's going. Okay, there we go. So have you ever been seen by a psychic or a medium before?
Once.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what I like to do is walk people through a little bit of the space of what the work can be like. So as a psychic, I see things that have happened, things that are happening, and things that I always say that could potentially happen. When it comes to the psychic work, what I have is advice and advice only. I'm a really straight shooter, and when I do the work, I don't believe I'm being of service if I'm not. So at any point in time during this journey, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. However, if you're not prepared to hear the answer or don't want to know, don't ask, okay? Okay.
Yeah.
So, as a medium, I'm able to connect with souls on the other side, and that's what we've been gathered here today to do. So, when I work with souls on the other side, never my intention to hurt or harm. I never know who or what's going to show up, what they have to say. I always ask for the greatest and highest good to be revealed for the sake of the soul that I'm working with. My joke is playing with the dead's like building a puzzle. That my job is to convey to you the things that I'm seeing, hearing, tasting, smelling, whatever thoughts pop into my head, whatever impressions spirit gives me, that is the stuff that I'm going to convey. So I really like to own the imperfect nature of the work. There are plenty of shows on TV today where we get to see the most perfect moments. We don't get to see the dance that happens behind, and I want to be really raw and straightforward with this footage that I'm airing, just to show people it's not a science, okay? So, with that being said, when I work with souls on the other side, just so that you're aware, I experience all of the information at once. So what can happen is they're going to show me things that may belong to you, may belong to your family members, may belong to them over on the other side, okay? And so what can happen is, and just because I don't reach somebody that you're hoping to hear from today, it doesn't mean they aren't there. I always say that I speak to them like I speak to you guys, that if they were private or didn't like certain things being shown, I have to walk them through the human part that they were to get them into the spirit space. So let's talk about the father figure that stepped forward for you. So what I tell people is, these are the fathers, our grandfathers, men that are like fathers to us. He showed me the number 28, and he gave me the month of July. So July's are birthdays of those living or crossed over, angelversaries, which is when I consider someone to have passed, anniversaries or significant occasions. I'm also smelling smoke. So I have a former smoker over there, and I'm sorry, but one of the things that I'm experiencing is a little bit of hard alcohol. So what I tell people when I do this work is there are generations of souls that do certain things. So when I start to do my work, it comes in as a little bit vague, and then I'm going to be shown things that I can't possibly know, and that's to do a few things. One, to show you that I'm not full of baloney, that I actually do what I say I do, that I can show you that your loved ones are watching over. And where does the K initial come in for you? So I tell people whether it's a first or last name, I know this sounds vague, but I've got a K showing up. So whether you know a Kate or a Katie or a K here in this plane, or whether we have someone over there that's showing me their last name, who's the father figure showing up for you? Is that your grandpa? Because I kind of feel like I have a grandpa here for you.
Yeah.
And did he smoke?
He used to.
Perfect. So here's what happens. And where does the Cancer come in?
Yeah, that's how he passed away, actually.
Perfect. So I have them here for you, and these are the things that I want you to know so that you understand. One of the symbols, and I tell people, this is the stuff I can't make up. If you're getting goosebumps, chills, that's spirit's way of swooping in even closer to be with you. I want you to understand, I love this. So I get one of these symbols from spirit where they put an apple in my eye. It speaks to the relationship that was held between the two of you. Now, I don't understand this, but he said, don't you dare put me in a tie. So was he not one to wear ties a lot? Okay. No. Perfect. And who's the soul that's cremated over there?
I'm pretty sure that's Grandpa.
Okay, great. And I have another mail coming through. So are both your grandpas over there? Because I have another, he's bringing through a male figure. So I don't know whether this is going to be a great grandpa, his dad, or if he's got a brother that's over there too. So there's another male that's showing, and he's showing me strokes and he's showing me forgetfulness. So.
Grandpa. My great grandpa, yeah.
Perfect. Perfect. So that you understand that these are the souls that are surrounding you, that watch over you. Now, when I get my smoke smell, the one thing that I want you to understand is I'm here to tell people they're not nuts and they don't require medication. Okay? So if you ever smell smoke around you and you haven't been around smokers, you're not around a fire, that's one of the ways that spirit will use to communicate with you, to let you know that they're there. So I'm telling you, you're not imagining things when you have that encounter. Now, your grandpa is hopping around for me. So typically when spirit hops around for me, it means they have their walking ability back. That when you think of them now, think of them in perfect health and perfect space. I love this. He says, that's my little girl. So do you guys have that closeness of a relationship? Where's the pin? He's showing me like a clip. So do you have like tie clips that belong to him? And I know you couldn't get him in a tie if you tried.
No, I have a belt buckle.
Okay. And that for me is close enough. Like you have this, when you hold or look or gaze on this clip, right? Clip, belt buckle. Okay, see, not perfect word. But when you look at that, that is your way of bringing his soul closer to you. He's given me the word dream. So it means that we've had encounters with spirit in our sleep. We've seen our loved ones in our sleep. It's not a dream, it's really a visit. I tell people when my gums are flapping that if something sits well with you, by all means keep it. If not, you're not going to hurt my feelings. But your grandpa wants you to know that he's gotten through to you that way. Now, what's your connection to frogs and why would he show me a frog?
No idea.
No French background, making a joke over this. I keep going ribbit. This is really weird. Oh, okay. So, do you remember the Bugs Bunny cartoon with Michigan J. Frog that you sing, hello, my baby?
Yeah.
Did your grandpa like older music to listen to? Okay.
Always.
So is there a certain tune that you may think of because for me, this is a singing space. He's kind of being a character. So was he funny while he was here okay, perfect. So he's showing a sense of humor to us. Awesome. And how do you connect with the month of January? Birthdays, anniversaries, anniversaries?
January is actually when my 2 stepsons were born.
Perfect. So for me, I really believe that when spirit gives me birthdays of those here in the physical world, regardless of whether your grandfather had a chance to meet these souls or not, he's aware of the circumstance, right? That he knows that he sees you raising kids. Do you understand that? So, and did you have a picture of him at your wedding day or something? Where's the picture that you always? He's showing me a picture. So you know sometimes when people get married or have, I'm seeing a family table.
A family table.
Yeah.
I was actually looking at pictures the other day of like Christmas and whatnot with him in it.
Perfect. So that you understand his soul was with you right at that moment. My job is to show you that they're here, that this is real, and that they're always watching over. So when you do these things and he shows me these things, this is his way of validating that it's really him. Now, he said the word frank to me. So was he a really honest soul while he was here on the planet? Perfect. So for me, I'm starting to get my little goosebumps and chills again. Super, really important. I kind of feel like he was the one that you were hoping to connect with most today. Does that make sense to you? Perfect. Yeah. And where are the angel wings? Do you have a memorial tattoo that's done for him? Because he looked at me and said wings, and then...
No, I'm actually an incarnated angel.
Are you?
Yeah.
Congratulations. So for me, this is really validation. Like sometimes when I do my mediumship work, I wind up putting my psychic hat on. And what happens is they've shown me the wings so that you validate you that you really do know who you are now and you're answering your life's callings. Your grandpa, he just said that she's fearless. So you don't let anything or anyone stop you on your journey. And your grandpa, I gotta take credit for that. Was he like a strong male role model, like a father figure to you?
Yeah.
Awesome. And he keeps giving me this little piece. So I don't know if you have like a piece of him, whether there's hair and a hairbrush, or if you have, and it may be if he was one of the most significant losses that you first encountered in your world. I really believe that when we lose our loved ones, a piece of our heart goes with them. He's here to give you that piece of the heart back. He squeezed my hand and he said goodbye. So even if you weren't there for the final moments and you went in to say goodbye to him, please know that he knows that you were there. Okay, do you understand that?
Yeah.
Okay, here. Okay?
Thank you.
So I really believe, and I've seen in my work, that the last thing to go is our hearing. So your grandpa knows that you were there to say goodbye. I feel like, when we deal with the cancer space, it can be a really hard space to see people in that state. And I feel like one of the reasons why your grandpa's bringing this forward is because you may still have a little bit of haunting around the images and things that you saw. And he's here to take that off of you so that you can remember how he lived and not how he passed. He keeps making me taste potatoes. So was he like a meat and potatoes kind of fellow while he was here?
Yeah, that's one of my fondest memories too, is going to a farm and helping them dig up potatoes.
Oh, I love it. Okay, so that you understand. Man, I knew this was going to be a good one today, and I'm so excited to have you here. I believe that just like we have fond memories of those that have gone on, our loved ones take fond memories with them too. So that you know that when your grandpa thinks of you from over there, those are the types of things that he wants you to imagine, because that's the stuff that he holds dear to him too. Now, he's showing me his heart space. Did he ever have a heart attack at one point in time? Because otherwise I've got somebody coming through that had a heart attack for you.
I don't know for sure.
Okay. And where does the fly fishing and water sports come in? Did your grandpa like to fish, or is this a great grandpa stuff that's coming in for you?
Not a grandpa at all.
Okay.
That would be my really good friend Jordan.
Okay, so he's no longer here.
No.
They're bringing him through for you. And I love this. He said, man, did they throw me a party? So that you understand. And what happens is, he says, I was taken too soon. Now, I understand that when we're young and we pass, we're taken away too soon. But he shows me I went just like that. So where's the impact accident? So, and the other thing that he's doing for me, just so that you know, it's never my intention to hurt or harm, but he bowed his head, which is my symbol for accepting responsibility for their passing. So something that he did led to his death. Do you understand that? Now he's showing me dirt bikes and ATVs and camping. So really, like, taken away too soon, clearly holding responsibility for his passing. And he said, she's my voice of sanity. So for me, there's a space where the friendship that was held, that you held him to task for some of his behaviors on this planet. He keeps holding a phone up to me too. So do you have a recording of his voice somewhere?
No, he actually came through with the other medium too. And yeah, he was a pretty significant part of it. So yeah.
Okay.
I don't have a recording of it though.
Okay, so did you guys talk on the phone a lot? Did he try to reach out to you that day, or did you try to call him?
No, my husband probably did.
Okay. And so from this space, I just want to sit in the telephone space for a moment because it's important. And he's explained to me that your husband and he were more like brothers than they were. But the other thing that he shows me that he's got going on, you know how siblings really fight and they don't like butt heads? He's showing me that that's the nature of the relationship with your husband. That as much as they loved each other, they love to hate each other. Where's July come in with him?
No.
That's the date from the beginning. The July's attached to him. So and did he leave a child behind? Or is there someone that gave a child a part of his name?
No.
He's showing me a young boy. Did he like your kids?
Yes, and well, my son was born in July.
Okay, right. So for every special occasion that our loved ones can't be here, they're celebrating on the other side. I would ask and encourage you to go back over photos. I believe our loved ones can create orbs. You know what orbs are, right? So watch for photos, particularly around your boy's birthday. Do you notice that your boy, when he was younger, liked to talk to the ceiling and look down the hallway? Like, do you see that?
Still does.
Okay, so that you understand, he's talking to these souls over there, right? Like, I really believe that from 0 to about age 6, we still come from the other side. It leaves us more open. And what happens is by the time we hit school, if it hasn't shut down, it's not going to. We have a whole bunch of new babies here on this planet that are able to see, feel, hear, and experience spirit. And one of the things that they're asking me to tell you as an identifier for you, so we're jumping off into a great big segue here. You're an indigo. You know that, right? That headstrong, no judgment, like it's your way or the highway, and that stubbornness will fuel you for your purpose, right? Don't let anybody or anything, even if you've got family going, why would you want to do that? You're not listening to them, and that's a very good thing, okay? And so Jordan keeps tracing around his wrist. For me, that's a bracelet, a piece of jewelry. Sometimes, you know how we get bands that I like hang on to other, that are in memory of other people? He keeps tracing his finger around his wrist. So did he wear wristlets or bracelets? Perfect. Your husband didn't get one or receive one that you're aware of. Okay. And I'm wondering if there's ever thought about that in your husband's world. I always joke that sometimes spirit will come along and they'll bust the humans that I'm working with or show me things that maybe they've been thinking about. So I would encourage you to go back and have a conversation about with your husband, if it's possible. I feel like your husband's a little bit open too, not to spill beans, sorry husband, but to really understand, like, I feel like Jordan was an extremely significant loss in his world. And for me, Jordan keeps talking about you picking up the pieces and encouraging him through the space. Like he's getting, so I don't mean this to be harmful, and I'm sorry that this is out in this space, but sometimes we think of suicides or people that take their lives as cowards on this planet, and we don't stop to realize that 9 times out of 10 they're in so much pain they don't know what else to do. He keeps showing me bottles and needles and pills. So for me, there was probably a little bit of an addiction space for him, or something that he was trying to battle in his world. I don't know if he used pills to make himself go away, but I felt the impact. So for me, that's not a very good space that I clearly want to talk about too much. But he's accepting responsibility. Who had the camping gathering after he passed? Like, you know how we can have a celebration and we take everybody, let's go over to his favorite camping spot.
Mud bogs were shortly after.
Perfect.
Pretty sure.
Did you guys all take yourself out to the mud bogs for Jordan's sake?
Yeah.
Good. Know that he was with you on that journey, and I love this. So we can have celebrations of life. And where's the tree? Do you happen to know if his family planted a tree in his honor, or have you ever?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Have you ever planted a tree in honor of loved ones that have gone on?
No.
Okay.
Oh, wait. Yes. That was a long time ago.
Who did you plant a tree for?
I planted one for my great-grandma and my great-grandpa.
So that you understand they're probably coming back into the line of sight. That means Jordan's probably screwing off like he typically did to bring back into the space. It's really funny. I kind of feel like with Jordan, before he decides to take off on us, really wanted this space where he kind of shoved things under the carpet a lot. You could pull stuff out of him, and I think your husband could pull stuff out of him. But it really was this space of ownership. He's like, yeah, I didn't talk to people much about this stuff. I had to keep it to myself. I'm a man's man, and why would I want to talk about the girly stuff? So for me, it just really begs the space that he would have you know that he's completely at peace with everything that has gone on. So, because I really believe that we're either here in the physical world or we're over there, and that the only hell that exists is the one we're busy working on right down here. So I know, and I've watched in my own experience, that people that even take their own lives go over there. They have to come back, but they go over there and they are at peace. And so with your great-grandma and grandpa showing me the tree, that's their way of saying thank you for doing that. Now, your great-grandma handed me a lace. So, like, do you have a lace hanky or doilies that would have been handed down through your family with her?
I think my mom has them.
Perfect. Every time that they're looked at or gazed on. Now, do you have strong recollection of your great-grandma? Because she just said to me, everything in its place and a place for everything. So a highly like ducks in a row. And she said, well, that's because I had so many kids. So I don't know how many kids they had or what that's all about. But she feels extremely organized in everything that she did. Now, I'm sitting here and I'm looking at, they're showing me a sewing box. So like those old sewing baskets, did she knit or crochet too on top of all of this?
I think so. From what I can remember, yeah.
Okay. And so when you think of her doing these things, right? That I really believe that just like we do things here, they can create whatever they want over there. The only difference is it's completely perfect over there and nothing hurts and you can carry on doing for as long as you want. So I'm wondering if I want to go back to the 28 for a minute, because 28 could be pointing to a day. It could be 28 years since someone passed. If we're talking 1928, that would put someone at 87 had they been here. So I just like to give people the pieces of the puzzle to think about. I always joke numbers, like playing bingo with numbers is like my least favorite game when it comes to spirit. But I want you to understand. Oh, sorry, Jordan. He's like, I wasn't done. I'm like, sorry. Okay, where's the plaque for him?
Plaque for him? For Jordan? Or?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Do you know if in Jordan's history someone may have been doing an honorarium or a fund, like a bursary fund or a grant? Because it looks like an award to me. So I don't know if someone put a plaque up somewhere for him. I'm seeing a plaque and I'm positive it's attached to him.
There's a whole bunch of like memorial stickers that were made for vehicles.
Oh, were there? Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. That's good enough for me. For me, that's just Jordan sticking his head back. I think he liked to stick his head in a lot for people. That you see that he knows the honor. Like, I really feel like our suicides get a hard rap on this planet. And there are some we know that we do see the space of in recent events. There's someone now over in Alberta that tried to take, I'm sorry, but the easy way out. Suicide is not an easy way out for people. It's when they are suffering the most, and it's a cause that I hold very strongly to, that people are not well and hurting so bad they have nothing, they feel like they have no other alternative or choice. But when you talked about the plaque and there's the stickers on vehicles, for me it's like, wow, you guys have paid me honor. I can't thank you enough for that. Now he gave me a pitchfork sign, so I don't like. Did he like to behave like a little devil while he was here, getting into lots of trouble? Okay, so for me, this is a really neat space where he's still getting into trouble over there, right? Just really see him for how he lived and not how he passed. Okay. Whose watch do you have? Or is that your mom that has the watch? I know that sounds vague, but I had a watch placed down in front of me, and it means that somebody's watch is still in someone's possession. And I know that happens a lot in the grieving space, but they're sitting here and I'm looking at a big, bold watch. So check with your mom.
Yeah.
She probably has it. I'm being shown November, so I'm not sure how you connect with that. I always joke with Spirit, don't give me any more than 3 or 4 months, because then you're just taking the validity away of my work. Thank you very much. But November is significant. And then they went 1111. So if you see numbers...
Yeah, that's one I see all the time.
Perfect. So they may have been, like November's the 11th month, they may have been trying to push me into that space to honor. I believe those are angel numbers. So not only does Doreen Virtue have number sequences and show you what the meanings are, but I really believe too that that's another way that our loved ones let us know that they're around. So when you see the 1111s, and did your grandpa ever serve in the war?
No.
Okay. I just thought I'd check with the November space. So when you see those, that is your loved ones letting you know that they're around. Now, let's talk about Grandma for a minute. Who had the congestive heart failure, lung-filled, fluid-filled lungs?
I'm not sure. I think it was my Auntie Elsie, actually.
Okay. So I'll address her for a few minutes. Do you remember her very much? Okay, because she came forward and she said, I don't want anybody talking about me. So there's a generation of souls that were very private, but why I feel like she said that is because sometimes there are people that like to put other people way ahead of them before they put ahead of themselves, and I'm wondering if that's what she's trying to describe, is like, everybody else can go first and she'll take the back seat and wait till everybody's done.
Yeah.
And, okay. Sorry, I get to see things in my head and know things before I have the conversation, so it can look kind of dorky sometimes. But here's the space. With respect to the females that are over there, who's the busybody, nosy, Really like to keep their finger on the pulse of everything, from birthday books to card catalogs and index recipe boxes. Is that your grandma? Okay. Is the recipe box still circulating in the family? Or
I think my grandma Hagel has it.
Okay. So that you understand. Like I say, when we look at these things or gaze on these things, our soul's right there with them in that moment. I'm tasting dumplings and stew. So, did we have a favorite recipe like...
She was always cooking.
Okay.
Definitely sounds like something she would make.
And that's your great-grandma that I'm talking about? Perfect. I love... She was kind of... So, when I experience her, I feel this feisty, like... take the switch after you, like, and I'm not saying that she was that mean or anything, but just a really feisty personality while she was here on the planet. And she's like, spare the rod, spoil the child, and I'm like, okay, that's the generation. We won't mess with you. Who has her earrings?
A whole bunch of us do.
Okay, perfect. So for me, validation. I always say that sometimes when our loved ones die and we're left with, and not that they really die, they just move into the next room, but when they pass from here, that they always come forward in a space of saying thank you for how they've been honored at that time. And for me, her bringing up the earrings is really about, that's an honor space, that's a memorial space, and she couldn't be more grateful. And this is so cute. She pulled a hanky out from her sleeve and she started dabbing at her eyes. And for me, that's just how touched she I don't feel like anything got past her, from the kindest of stuff to the meanest of stuff. She's like, she had 5 eyes at the back of her head, never mind 2 in the front. And so it's a really strong, and who had the viewing? Yeah.
Like,
So even if they were cremated, sometimes when people pass, we invite family around to come in after they've passed to say goodbye.
I remember your great-grandma and great-grandpa's viewing.
Perfect. So that you know, right, that they know you were there, right? That you took the opportunity to say goodbye. She said to me that you looked at them and said, that's not them.
Probably.
Right? That there's a recognition in you being the incarnated earth angel that you are, that it's just merely a vehicle we borrow for a least time and then we get sent back to the other side. And so that you understand, I really believe that, there's a part of you that feels like they do the work with you. Like, I believe our loved ones that leave here become our guardian angel and care team, and that when we have a help space that's required, not only is there a higher realm of beings that help us out, but our loved ones are our guardian angels. So when you talk to them and ask to see them, and by the way, the sparks that you see, you don't need your eyes checked. That's them making themselves available to you. It's almost like a virtual seeing of them in spirit. So you're not imagining things, you don't require medication. And by the way, guys, this is going to be a hangover, and it's not a hangover, a cliffhanger. Really pretty bird. It's going to be a cliffhanger, and it's going to stop at any point in time and leave you wanting more, I hope. So I just had to put that in there while we're at this. So that you understand, when you see those things, we've had a veil that lifted last December. So we're waking up and we're being exposed to more spiritual ways of being. So one of the things that they've started doing is creating the little sparks that, I call them fireflies. They're spirit letting us know that they're around. And I want to jump off for a minute here, because what they're showing me is an information highway. So if you've ever filmed in your house and just run a camera around just to see if you could pick up on anything, if you look up at your ceiling, you're going to see a steady white stream. I wouldn't be too surprised if your house is on a ley line. Have you looked at that already?
No.
Do you understand the energy that flows through your house and like just how active your house is? It's because you're a light too, right? That they see you. The one thing that I want to talk to you about is ensuring that you give yourself permission to tell them to back off if the house gets too busy. I walk around in my house and go, in case I have, I would go, anybody that doesn't belong to me out of the house, right? But I think it's a very welcome space. Who did you light the candle for?
Jordan.
Okay, he's back. Tennis, he's not done. So that you, pong, ping pong, ping pong. So that you understand, this is his way coming back and saying thank you for that space, right? That you would light a candle in his honor. And listen, I just had butterflies float down in front of me. So when you see the butterflies, that's your loved ones in spirit letting you know that they're around. I'd also watch for hummingbirds too. There seems to be some hummingbird experience going on with you. There are messengers between here and there. You are completely open as a human being. I kind of have a sneaking suspicion that the session that we're sitting in is actually going to jump off into a whole bunch of different things. I allowed myself to be open to this process, and I hope that you are too. But I'm kind of feeling like we need to do some psychic work with you too. Okay, does that make sense when I say that to you? I have a mandate where typically I work in psychic realm or medium realm, but I know that at some point in time this video is going to stop and everybody's going to be going, what? And then you and I are going to get into some other things here, because there's some things like I feel that are really important with helping you push you into the next part of your adventure. Where did tea leaves come in for you? Because I keep seeing tea leaves. So tea leaves are a way that we can read people. We can pour it out into cup. So do you ever scry or look in water? Have you ever done tea leaves before?
A long time ago.
Okay. So I hope you don't mind this, but they've done a great job of conversing. They've come through in flying colors to let you know that they're here. But I feel like too that we need to talk about some of the things that you're doing and where you're going with the work that you're meant to do on this planet. So I want you to understand that you already know that you're an incarnated angel, right? So I really believe, I know that I'm one too. I believe that what the term angel means is it's a form of responsibility. I always say that none of us are any more or less important than anybody else. But imagine that over on the other side, there's a set of responsibilities given. So we've got the hierarchy that goes on. So what happens is in amongst the hierarchy of angels, there are those a little bit higher up with more responsibility that get sent down here to have more responsibility for mending mankind, right? That if Adam and Eve existed, that at that time, they had a direct line to source, universe, God, however we choose to want to see it on this planet. Over time and circumstance, we've disconnected from that space. Now the fight is on. So what's happening is a whole bunch of the light workers, and there's a belief out there that there's approximately 18 million of us that have woken up to help the 7 billion switch out humanity, right? If we're spiritual beings having a human experience, the human or ego in us is wreaking havoc on this planet. What they're trying to do is to flip us inside out so that spirit rules the roost. I call it the higher self space. So you know how you're sitting with a friend and you're able to solve the world's problems, bouncing ideas off of one another. We can do the same for ourselves in a higher self aspect. So what happens is you're right in the middle of your waking up to your calling on this planet. And the more that you can read tea leaves, the more that you can do cards, the more that you can do Reiki, the more that you can do anything in the healing arts, the stronger you're going to get. I feel like there are those of us being pushed into a higher platform, and there are those just coming up in the ranks that are going to sort of take over where the ones that have been pushed up. You're in that ranking. You need to continue. I try not to speak in absolutes, but when these feelings come across for me, you really need